You are now tuned into another episode of Speak On It with Mike, Sean, and Brent. These are two really fantastic guys. They really are. They have a fantastic show. It's quite tremendous. Not as good as mine, but you're going to love it. Just remember to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. The Rocket City Network is amazing. It really is. Well, enjoy the show.
Yo, 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 yo. Welcome to another episode of Speak On It. I am your host, the mouthpiece of the Southeast, the one and only Mike Sean. Today I have my co-host, Brent. What's going on, Brent?
How we doing, Sean?
Hey, man, we're good. So let's go ahead and get into it, right? So I got a question for you, Mr. Brent. If Biden does end up winning the election, right, what's next for Trump and the Republicans?
Well, Trump's not going anywhere. I think we discussed that in length on the last segment. So Trump has made reference to the fact that he's going to run in 2024. That he's going to win about his second turn by one way or the other, right? If they screwed him out of it this time, he's not going anywhere. Right, that's his idea. That's got to be his point of view. The man's a narcissist, so he doesn't lose; he gets fucked, right?
Hey, Brent. Remember, man, you got conservatives watching this, man. They're gonna attack you, dog.
Hey, they can look. I'm not saying anything bad about him. I'm just saying the reality of it is, even if Joe Biden wins this election, there's no way in the world Donald Trump's going to say I lost the election. He's going to say they cheated it out of me, right? Well, so that's all that motivation to spend the next 4 years campaigning and running for president again and doing it all over again. You got to think the man's what? How old is he?
74.
78 years. 74. Okay, so he'll be 78 in 2024.
Yeah, Biden's age, basically. Yeah.
Biden's age. That's old, right? It takes a lot of energy to run for president. It takes a lot of energy to do what Donald Trump does. But he's going to find all that motivation and all of that drive, because for the next 4 years, he's not going to be in charge. And for the next 4 years, every single time he turns on the TV and every time he reads a news article, he's going to say they stole the election from me. They stole the election from me. And it's going to drive him to run to run again. So I think, yes, Donald Trump's going to run for president in 2024. And boy, it's going to be another crazy election.
So what does that mean for Republican hopefuls? People who are on the rise in the Republican Party?
I think
should they just get out the way and let
no,
Trump do his thing?
I think that there will be a primary, and the question is going to be raised. Does the Republican Party want to continue to go in Trump's direction, or do we want to go in a different direction? There's going to be a lot of references to his age. There's going to be a lot of references to his character. There's going to be a lot of references to his first term in office and everything that happened in 2020 and his handling of the coronavirus and everything, right? Just the same way as the Democrats and the mainstream media have been dissecting and painting everything that he's ever done in a negative light. All of the Republicans that will be running in the primary are going to do the same thing. Question is it going to work? Right? Donald Trump can convince people to do, and so Donald Trump's got to convince the American people that the next 4 years, he's going to finish the job that he never got a chance to complete.
I think that if that were to play out in 2024. Just right now, 2020, I don't see anybody that can contend with him on the right, because like you said before, he has 74 million people backing him. Not too many of those people are going to shy away or defect in the next 4 years, because you know what? They're going to remember the good old days, right? They're going to remember the Make America Great hat, right? They're going to remember all the Trump rallies that brought so much energy to the party. And I think it's going to be tough for a guy like Rubio, Cruz, It's going to be really tough. Kasich, I know people have thrown out the name Kasich. John Kasich out of Ohio. It's going to be tough for them to kind of surpass Trump and to their message to resonate with Trump crowd, because they're going to need Trump supporters to defect for them to be successful in winning the primary and then winning the presidency as well. What do you think about
Definitely. Well, Donald Trump is an entertainer. Before anything else, Donald Trump is an entertainer, and that is how he has become so successful, and that is how he has been able to accomplish everything that he has been able to accomplish. He's got a gigantic personality, and he's got a drive, and that gigantic personality is going to be so difficult to compete against. I mean, look at in 2016, the primary field that the Republicans had was huge, right?
Yes.
They had Jeb Bush, and Ted Cruz. They had they had a whole lot of folks that were very good candidates, and he ran roughshod over all of them.
Because a lot of that had to do with, I remember Bush, right? They weren't used to somebody talking crazy during
exactly
the primaries. And I guess for me, I'm like a lot of voters. I like my presidents to act presidential, right? So a lot of people wanted Bush to stoop down to Trump's level, but it wasn't going to happen. Now, Ted Cruz tried to, but it didn't fare well for him. Rubio tried to, but it didn't seem authentic.
Right.
There's going to have to be somebody who is going to match him. And like you said, he has a big personality. Maybe it might be another celebrity who comes out the woodworks. Who knows? But I just don't think that if it's 2024, anybody's going to beat him. I think we're going to see presidential candidate Trump in 2024.
And I agree. I think that there's nobody that can match him. There was nobody that could match him before he had I was the president under his belt, right? He didn't have the resume when he was running in 2016. He runs in 2024. He's going to say, well, look, I've already done this. I've got all this experience. They screwed me out of it in 2020, but I'm going to come back. That's going to be his line. Once again, he's not ever going to admit that he lost the election. He's going to continue to go along with the line of they stole it from me and I'm going to take it back.
Now, the caveat is he might be doing some jail time. I mean, I know some people might not think that that's realistic, but I think that might be the only thing that really stops him or stops his momentum. Like if 2024 he decides to run, right, it all depends on what happens in the next 4 years as far as his legal battles, right? If things are exposed, I think people will start deflecting, right, or defecting from his camp. But that's definitely an uphill battle because you look at Clinton, right, when he got impeached, his numbers shot up. He became even more popular, even with Trump. Trump was impeached, and I think he became more popular. They were able to get people who never voted before to vote for Trump for a second term. So I think even if he has these bloody court cases up in New York and wherever else he has them, I think that'll help him out to an extent. There has to be enough people saying, you know what, all this buffoonery going on, I can't support a person like that. I think that's really the only way he'll really lose steam. But if he keeps on going out there and campaigning like he did all 4 years while he was president, it's going to be really, really tough to beat him because I just don't see it. Who are the heavyweights in the Republican Party right now? I know we mentioned a couple of them.
I have no idea who would run, who would primary in 2024. No clue because anybody who is considering running,
they already ran.
Well, no, they're taking into account that they're going to have to run against Trump, right? And nobody likes to lose, right? Why would I invest all the time and energy and my reputation into running a losing campaign? So there's a lot of folks that are saying if Trump, that aren't going to even attempt to run in 2024 if Trump is on the ticket.
Yeah.
I really don't know that. But as far as the court cases are concerned, because you're not the first person that's brought this to my attention. The first time I had a conversation, I don't think Donald Trump's going to do any jail time.
He's not going to get locked up. They won't.
Look. They didn't lock up. They didn't lock up Bill Clinton. They didn't lock up Hillary Clinton. We don't lock up our presidents. A and B. Donald Trump didn't get to where he's at, by not being able to sidestep. He had to be able to sidestep some mines to get where he's at, right?
Especially living in New York, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, New York.
Donald Trump.
You gotta be Teflon up there, right?
Donald Trump is a crook. Okay, he's always been a crook, but he's always
Brent.
had.
Look, dude, man, look, you gonna get us flagged, man.
The president of the United States is a criminal in most cases. Okay, he is the head of a criminal organization, or at least multiple criminal organizations.
My bad. I didn't mean to throw you off. My bad. I'm sorry.
No, that's cool. Look, Donald Trump's got lawyers. Donald Trump is not is not new to being brought into court.
Yeah.
None of this is going to stick. He's not going to do any jail time.
Gotcha. So my next question is this, Brent, and we've talked about this too, right? So what can we look forward to in 2022 and 2024 as far as politics are concerned, dealing with the House, the Senate?
Well, okay, here's the consolation prize for all of us Republicans and all of us Trump supporters and all of us conservatives out there. So once again, there was no mandate for the Democrat Party in 2020, right? Joe Biden won the looks like he's going to win the presidency, right?
Hey, hold up. Hey, you already know, man. Look,
I said looks like. Okay, yeah, I didn't say it's a fact. I've already made it clear.
I'm sorry, man.
We're in the process, but okay. Yeah. With the let's just say, for argument's sake, that Joe Biden wins the presidency. Yes. The Republicans still gained houses in the house, gained seats in the House, and it looks like they're going to hold on to the Senate. We'll see what happens in Georgia, but they're going to hold on. Okay. With that being said, that added on to the fact that the midterm election always swings toward the party who is not doesn't have the executive branch. So in 2022, you can bet on the fact that the Republicans are going to take the House and continue to control the Senate. They will have both houses of the legislature, which is more important than having the executive branch. Now, if Donald Trump wins, right? If the courts decide that this election was problematic and enough states dispute their election results, and Donald Trump becomes the president, then great, we get Donald Trump as our president again. However, in 2022, the Democrats are going to take over the Senate, and the Democrats are going to hold on to the House. It's going to happen, and if they have both the House and the Senate, they will impeach Donald Trump. And the only thing that kept him in the office this time was the fact that the Republicans held the Senate. So if Donald Trump pulls off the hat trick and the comeback of a century and throws all these Hail Mary passes and wins this election, he's going to get thrown out of office in 2022 and or after 2020 through 2022, and the Democrats will have both chambers in the legislature. So
essentially, what you're saying is, Trump, get the hell up out the way, and let's take your chances in 2024 instead of trying to vie for this whole 2020 election.
Yes. Well, okay. Ultimately,
sacrifice yourself right now.
Well, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that if, Sandra Powell releases the Kraken and there is definitive proof that 10 million votes were, for Joe Biden were fraudulent, that he shouldn't have received them, that there were votes that should have gone to Donald Trump, and that it is obvious that the Dominion voting machines were manipulated in a way that overwhelmingly gave the advantage to Joe Biden, and that it's clear that the election was stolen. If that happens, then Donald Trump will become president again, and we'll see what happens. Okay. Definitely. But that's not going to happen, even if there's enough evidence to show that the election was bad and Donald Trump's able to win. The story that we're going to hear is going to be Donald Trump stole the election. Donald Trump stole the election. Donald Trump stole the election. There's no way on earth that CNN and MSNBC and the New York Times are ever going to say just the same way that Donald Trump will never admit that he lost the election. The
Mhm.
mainstream media will never admit that Joe Biden lost this election. And therefore, for the next 2 years, all we'll hear is Donald Trump is not really the president and that he stole the election. And then once again, the Democrats will win and win in 2022, and they'll impeach him. So, I mean, we just got to be real about what actually is going to happen. So, you know, I hope that that our election system is can be counted on and is top notch and is all that it is supposed to be, right? And if it turns out that there's no evidence saying that there was enough fraud to dispute the election, Joe Biden becomes president. Okay, great. Not ideal, but the Republicans are going to take the House and the Senate in 2022, and then we'll see what happens in 2024. The sleepy Joe Biden isn't going to be able to do very much in 2 years, with a divided Congress. He's definitely not going to be able to do very much with an all Republican Congress.
Executive orders. We saw. I mean, of course, that's not something that's ever, it's lasting or whatnot. It's not really lasting, but we see how Trump used that power, So, it's going to definitely be tough for the Democrats to keep the House and to win the Senate, because I believe with the House, there's more Democratic seats that are up in 2022.
Right.
I need to check my numbers again, and I think it's the same in the Senate as well.
Yeah.
So that's why
the reason that the Democrats were supposed to take the Senate and win more seats in the House, because this time it was more Republicans had their seats up for grabs. In 2022, it's the opposite. So it's a shoo-in that the Republicans will take over the House and the Senate if Joe Biden becomes president.
That's why people on my team, we really been pushing the whole Georgia runoff for the 2 Senate seats. Rarely do 2 Senate seats come open in a state. So that's definitely a heated election. And I know there's people who are saying, oh, yeah, we need to go down there and campaign, for the Democrats. And what Stacey Abrams and them are saying is, nah, don't come down here. Just send us your money. And I guess that's the same thing on the Republican side, too, is like they don't really want Trump to kind of come down there, but send resources instead.
Right. Well, and you got to wonder how much of all of this recount
is going to play a part. Yeah.
Well, is specifically aimed at affecting those races, right? At ginning up the Republican support, saying, look what they've done, look what they've done, look at the fraud, look what the Democrats, the evil Democrats are up to in your state. You better not let them you better not let them take over the Senate as well. So that's definitely playing a role in those runoff elections.
I think what's tricky too is that in Georgia, right, they haven't done Trump's bidding, talking about the legislatures and even like the governor, right? So that's kind of tricky too. Are they really kind of putting out the vote? Hey, we need to vote. I'm not sure. I mean, I would think they are, or they would, but I know that the whole thing with Lindsey Graham, that whole mix up with, hey, you better, what's going on? Oh, chicanery down here, let's get it popping. So a lot of that's playing a part. I think it's really going to be decisive in Georgia. It's really going to come down to who gets out the vote, especially when you have young people, right? That weren't eligible to vote this past election, but they turned 18 before the actual runoff, so they can actually be a part of the political process. So there's a lot of factors. And then, how like during the presidential election, that night, whenever we saw mail-in ballots being counted, we were thinking, oh, it's mainly Democrats. How is that going to play a part now, right? There might be more Republicans voting mail-in ballot, right? So Democrats can't rely on the mail-in ballots to put them over the hump like they did in other states, in many states during the presidential election. So it's going to be tricky. And like you were saying, between now, 2022 and 2024, a lot can happen, right? I had a discussion with one friend, and I was saying, hey, spoils of war. If Biden does win, he can expand the court. Of course, a lot of people don't want to hear that, but if you think about it, how many presidents in their lifetime have been able to put 3 judges on the bench in 4 years? That was
Right.
amazing. I mean, it was unheard of. I think Bush might have put 2. How many did Obama put? Was just Sotomayor?
No, Sotomayor. He put 2. It was Sotomayor and
he tried Merrick Garland.
No, other than Merrick Garland, it was one other.
Uh-huh.
I can't think of it.
Yeah. So, and I know this is like off topic. Now put your Democrat hat on, right? You're going to expand the court, right? 2022 is coming up. It's a vital election year, right? Who do you think the Democrats should put as their first nominee for the bench? Do you think they should go radical, or should they go with somebody like Merrick Garland, who's pretty much a moderate-ish? But
I don't think that Biden's going to do it. All right, so you're saying if
hypothetically
they win both seats in Georgia, and therefore it's a 50-50, and so the
exactly
tie to the vice president. Okay, but even if that, once again, the American people did not give a mandate to the Democrat Party to do any crazy stuff like expand the court there, and so the Democrats cannot rely on 100% of their people supporting such a notion. There are Democrat representatives who live in right-leaning states or battleground states that can't afford to piss off any of their constituents, that are not going to go along with. That would be a horribly divisive thing, right?
But they're going to lose anyway, right? I mean, so if I was Biden, you know what? Look, I won the election. We're probably going to lose in 2022. Let me go ahead and show my presidential powers. If I was him, I'd expand the court.
Well,
I mean, that's if you're gonna lose anyway, hell, you might as well go out with a bang.
Yeah, but Joe Biden is a moderate. Joe Biden's always been a moderate, and Joe Biden, I think, it's going to be a legacy. He's going to sleep most of the time that he's in office. He's going to stare out the window most of the time that he's in office. Every once in a while, they're going to come in and they're going to say, Joe, it's time to play president. This nice man's going to give you a haircut and a shave, and you're going to make a speech. And so Joe's going to get a few things done. He is not about to go out of his way to do something as divisive, because once again, he wants to bring the country together. He has for his what is it? The way that we'll all remember him in the future, right? He'll go down in history. He wants to be the guy who unites who brings us back from this division and tries to unite the country. That's what he's going to attempt to do. Yes, the left is going to try to pull him to the left as much as they can. But it's not like he's going to understand anything that's going on anyways. He's not going to go out of his way to try to understand what's going on. He's going to do very, very little in the 4 years that he's president, unless, of course, he dies or they kick him out on the 25th Amendment so that Kamala can become president. So there's a whole
basically, so basically he is Reagan in the second term. Sleep at the wheel. I mean, if
he's going to be asleep at the wheel. He's not going to do anything to rock the boat. He's going to do everything in his power, which he doesn't have very much of that. But in the 4 hours a day that he's cogent, he's going to try to unite the country and to do positive things. He's not going to try to do anything to rock the boat or to make giant jumps to the left. He's going to make sure that all of his corrupt buddies get in power, and that we have business as usual, in government. But I don't see him doing anything crazy, especially packing the court.
So basically, you as a a conservative, a Republican, I know you don't really like to use that term Republican, but you as a conservative, you're able to sleep better at night with Biden being in office versus a person who is a Democrat sleeping at night with Trump in office. Because it says it because it kind of sounds like, and I've heard this from a lot of different conservatives, like they're okay with Trump. I mean they're okay with Biden. At least he's not Bernie. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
No, definitely,
Yeah,
definitely. I mean, yeah.
yeah, yeah,
I mean, once again, I said it before. I'm positive. I'm optimistic.
yeah, yeah,
That Joe Biden is not going to do irreparable harm to the country in his 4 years that he's president. Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, would have done their best to move the country in the leftward direction, right? And would have expanded government programs and expanded government spending and raised taxes and done all the things that, as a conservative, I disagree with.
Look, you guys like spending that money though.
Well, okay.
It depends on. That's how we all are, right?
Well, that's not. That's how politicians are in Washington, because nobody wants to be the guy who cut all the programs.
Yeah.
Right. These government programs don't go away. Right. They get created and they get expanded. Right. They get created, get expanded, because no administration, and it comes down to the House and the Senate. Nobody wants to be the guy who got rid of all of these, all the freebies, right? Nobody wants to be the guy that gets rid of all of the programs. Now, if it was up to me, I would love to have a president that showed up to work with a pair, and campaigned with a pair of scissors and said, I'm going to cut the budget, and was a fiscal conservative, and had fiscal conservatives in the House and the Senate that backed him up, so that we could get rid of all this outrageous spending, so that we could get the budget under control, and do something about the deficit and the debt, instead of just kicking the can down the street.
And you know what's funny? Like, out of all my Republican conservative friends, you're the first person that mentioned something of that sort in the last 4 years, right? Because most people, they're like, oh, more government. Okay, cool, we can do that. Nobody is checking the pocketbook right now. Well, they're going to start doing it come January 20th if Biden is the president. But man, if you're, it's like this. If your guy's in office, a lot of stuff you kind of, do one of these numbers. You look away, but the minute somebody is there that you don't like, you're going to start looking at your line items very carefully with a microscope, so, but it's good that you kind of said that. I mean, because that's what you believe in. I disagree, but I can see if that was if you had your way, that's what you would want in a president.
Yeah, and I agree with what you're saying completely. For the 8 years that Obama was in office, I jumped up and down and pulled my hair out and screamed and said, "Look at how much money that they're spending!" And then what George W. Bush had a $386 million deficit. That was the largest deficit that we had ever had, and then Obama came in, and it became $1 trillion or a deficit every single year.
That was the new norm.
And then we were all, okay, great. Trump's going to get in there, and he's a businessman. He knows how to run businesses. He's going to take care of all of this. And it was never anything that he discussed at all about cutting spending. So it was just like, okay, we're not going to get that from this guy, and therefore let's focus on something else. But no, we're not. I'm not going to beat up my own guy.
I think that
right. It's rather critical.
I think that the spending is like, I think people have become kind of desensitized to it. I'm seeing more and more people on both sides. They're like, oh, what the hell? Oh well, you know what I'm saying? Because I guess they're not seeing a long-term effect of how it can affect the country in the next 50 or 60 years, because everybody's all about themselves. Well, shoot, I ain't got to pay for it. I'm good, but you're really kind of paying for it. Right. So I think in the next couple of years, it's going to be interesting how the whole political circus that we that we live in now is going to come, right? Um, do you think that a person like Kasich or even Mitt Romney can take over the Republican Party?
No. Well, okay, let's talk about Mitt Romney. He had his chance. He didn't win.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There's this idea in the Republican Party that's like, we have to run the nice guy. We have
Mm-hmm.
to take the higher ground, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have to differentiate ourselves. We all know that the Democrats are crooks and criminals. We have to make sure that we put in somebody who's above reproach, and somebody who's going to be there to unify and be the leader. Well, it doesn't work. And we saw that in 2016, and we're going to see that for as long as Trump is alive. We want results, and we want somebody to fight, and that's what we got in Trump. It's not something you're going to get from presidential candidates. That's not something you're going to get from lifelong politicians and from a Kasich or a Romney.
Romney,
They're not of that breed.
Yeah.
And so I think that Trump has changed everything.
Yeah.
And so the nice guy, the leader who will stand up there and be polished and say the right things and all that, we're not going to see that for a while. Republican Party. We're going to need somebody who is willing to fight for all the things that for so long nobody was fighting for. The Bushes, they didn't. They were big corporatists, right? Big Wall Street guys. They weren't fighting for the little guy. They weren't fighting for the American people, and they weren't trying to bring manufacturing back to the United States and redo trade deals and so on and so forth. They were right along with the idea of farming out all of our manufacturing globally, because it makes more money for the big companies that go away, that are that are funding their campaigns, right?
Yes.
So we need somebody who fights. And somebody who's got the big attitude. Trump changed it all. It's not going back.
I think on the left side, that's what we want too, right? And we just never can get that person, because I think we're always scared, right? We always want to play nice politics. But like I was telling a friend, Republicans and conservatives already think that Democrats are devils and all this. I mean, when they say, when they go low, we go high. Nah, I'm of the the cloth that believes that fight fire with fire. You know what I'm saying? Because nice politics just doesn't work anymore, unfortunately. Right.
Right. And the Republicans learned that.
Yeah.
And
I want to say that y'all learned that probably in the 90s. That's when you guys started getting kind of you had the fiery people in the House and the Senate. You really didn't get there till you actually got Trump, to be honest. So you guys had a span of 25 years to where you guys were kind of trying to get it right. And now I think that the Democrats they're in that position now.
Yeah. They've got to figure out who they can run that can compete against Trump, or who's the next Trump going to be? Who's the candidate that Trump is going to breed, that Trumpism is going to breed. And we'll have to see.
Do you think that person has to be a celebrity, or come from a different arena than politics?
It's hard to say. I don't think it's going to be very difficult for a politician, unless, of course, it's somebody that did something spectacular before they became a politician.
Yeah.
Somebody who was in the military beforehand, had a great military career. Somebody who's accomplished great things, a business person, probably another billionaire, but somebody who's got, who can stand up on stage and because it takes the character in order to become a billionaire, right? You got to have the drive and character. So that's the same character I don't know, you could say defects or same character, same personality traits that get people to be rich and successful, that can get them to become successful in politics. So it's going to be another billionaire. It's going to be an Elon Musk or what's the Amazon guy? The bald dude owns Washington.
Bezos.
Bezos. Going to be a Jeff
Yeah.
Bezos. Going to be somebody who's larger than life, somebody who the public knows. I think that's but that's America.
That's the reality too, man. Because even on our side, I'm thinking like maybe like a Mark Cuban. You know, I mean, it's somebody who has like you said, a big personality, and I just don't see that coming from a politician. It's going to have to be some kind of, basketball team owner, just somebody who is just unorthodox.
Yeah. Well, because we're tired of, once again, you could call it the swamp. We're tired of the way that politics is run. Politics run by politicians is just a whole bunch of lawyers who are in bed with each other and in bed with all the people that are funding their campaigns. We don't want somebody who's in that system. We want somebody to come in, somebody with a giant personality, and get things done for the American people, right? A politician, a lifelong politician is going to come in, and they're going to help out their friends, and they're going to help out their colleagues, and they're going to help out all the people that help them to get there. Whereas you get somebody like a Mark Cuban, the Rock has been floated a lot. I think the Rock would do a great job.
Because Kanye West is out there. I mean, Kanye got 50,000 votes
in 2024.
Kanye got 50,000 votes. 50,000.
Well, you know what? He's got to have. He made up his mind pretty late that he was running. He's got 4 years to get it done. I listened to him on Joe Rogan, and he convinced me that he's actually gonna make a run for it. He said, "Look, everything that I've ever done, I've been amazingly successful at it. All I got to do is apply myself to this, and I'm going to win in 2024. It's a given. Well, we'll see what happens. But yes, I think the politics has forever been changed by Donald Trump. That we're not going to have senators and congressmen and governors be the top runners for the presidential ticket. They've got to have that huge
star
power, that huge resume, and that huge personality. Because ultimately, what is the executive? The executive is the bully pulpit. The executive is the guy who can stand in the box and say whatever they want, and their ability to do what they can on their campaign, deliver on their campaign promises, is based upon their ability to convince the American people and convince Congress to do what they want.
That's true. Well, there you have it, folks. The Rocket City Network. We out. Yeah.